A very warm welcome to the EnergyTech Innovation and Innovation Conclave. Now we are in the inaugural session. We are joined by some eminent speakers from across the country who are from the policymakers, who are from the industry, giving their extensive service in the field of energy and also gas. I would like to welcome all our eminent speakers. Our inaugural session would be focusing on powering India's energy and gas sector through innovation and collaboration in the new world order. While India is the third most country in producing the renewable energy, at the same time, it is also surging ahead in its promise to adapt the renewable and sustainable energy to a larger extent. We have our eminent speakers who are on the ground working towards these green and clean energy goals. We will be hearing from them. Join me in welcoming a senior bureaucrat from the state of Madhya Pradesh who is known for his innovative work in the field of energy, especially the solar energy. And we would be hearing from him the various innovations that have been taken up, which are being replicated across the country. A warm welcome to Mr. Manu Srivastava, Principal Secretary to Government of Madhya Pradesh. Thank you very much for joining us. We are also joined by yet another senior bureaucrat from the state of Punjab. We would be hearing the innovations and various other best practices being adopted by Punjab. Join me in welcoming Mr. A.Venu Prasad, Chairman and Managing Director, Punjab State Power Corporation Limited, Government of Punjab. Thank you very much, Mr. Venu. Thanks for joining us. We are also joined by Mr. A.K. Jana, who's the Managing Director, Indraprastha Gas Limited. Thank you very much, Mr. Jana, for joining us. We are also joined by Mr. Rajnath Ram, who's the Advisor, Power and Energy, NITI Aayog, one of the think tank with the Government of India. We would be getting the perspective from the Government of India's side and how is the think tank of India is planning, have laid the roads towards clean and green energy. Welcome, Mr. Rajnath. Thanks for joining us. We are joined by yet another eminent leader in the energy sector, who one of the key aspects of energy, that is the smart grid, how technology and innovations are combined together, and we are heading towards smart energy management. President for India Smart Grid Forum and also the chairman for Global Smart Grid Federation, Mr. Reji Kumar Pillai. Thank you very much, Mr. Pillai, for joining us.
Thank you.
Without further ado, I would like to call upon our first speaker from the state of Punjab, Mr. A.Venu Prasad. Sir, we would like to have the innovations and the best practices taken up by Punjab towards energizing the Indian energy goals. At the same time, what are the further plans of the state of Punjab towards this space? Over to you, sir.
Good morning, friends, distinguished speakers. At the outset, I congratulate the organizers for organizing this seminar. It is indeed very timely because a lot of changes are coming in power sector, from generation to transmission to distribution. And it is more relevant, especially when Government of India is planning to amend the Electricity Act, and the proposal is to separate carriage and content. So in this context, the seminar is very useful and very timely. So again, I once again congratulate the organizers. As you all know, Punjab is a different state as far as power sector is concerned compared to other states of the country. When I say it is different especially in the load profile. Our load profile is altogether completely different from many states, especially southern states. Our profile is completely a bell-shaped curve. It starts from 3000 megawatt in winter and goes up to 14,000, 15,000 megawatt in summer. So this type of load profile and managing this load itself is a big challenge. If we make arrangements keeping the peak load in demand, peak load in view, then in winter we end up in paying huge fixed charges because most of the thermal plants will keep on idle state. Even hydro we may not be using. Sometimes 3000 means because solar we have a must run status. As a result, even 1 rupee 50 paisa power we are surrendering in peak winters. Even Sasan, which is the cheapest available power to us, even we are all surrendering that power also in winters. So the load and load profile itself and managing the load itself is a challenge in Punjab. But luckily, with the transmission is increasing year on year basis, our TTC limits, our ATC limits, we were having about 4,500 few years back. Now we are having 6,800 as a megawatt as our ATC limit. As a result, there is a lot of flexibility because in winters we can use our own power. In summers, if additional power is required, we can buy it from power exchange, or we can do banking, or we can buy multi mutually agreed terms with any other genco. So that type of flexibility we have got. So this is, I can say, this is possible only with the power exchange, availability of power exchange, and movement of power from one state to another state, which we never thought about 5 years back, 10 years back. So this itself is a very big advantage to the state. Even it has brought down our cost of procurement also. Last year, our cost of procurement was around 4 rupees 90 paisa. Because of various changes, now we brought it down to 4 rupees 20 paisa. And next year, we are expecting it may go down further. So the technology, what I'm saying is the key, whether it is power exchange, power trading, whether it is a bilateral agreements. Uh, so with more dynamic exchanges, more dynamic scheduling, we are able to achieve these things. The next is about the solar. We have about out of 13,000 megawatt total capacity, we are having about 1,000 solar, 1,000 megawatt of solar. And recently, we have floated one tender also for about 500 megawatt. One is out of that 250 megawatt is outside the state, and 250 to be set up within the state. Basically, why we are talking within the state is in peak summers, many a times transmission corridor is not available to bring power from outside the state. Uh, so this is the main concept. So we are expecting this tender to be opened in the next month. Once it is through, then it will help us to get and to add more solar
और
energy mix. The second is about the biomass.
अरे
Punjab,
वैसे
especially,
हो गया
know,
अभी
they
प्लेनरी में हूँ मैं
every winter they have pollution problem in the month of January, February. Basically, um, they stay. It is due to paddy straw burning. So we have set up few biomass-based thermal plants, few biomass-based plants. But the problem in biomass plants is the cost of generation is very much on higher side. So it is working out to be around 8 rupees per unit. So we requested power department also, government of India, NITI Aayog also, we should work out a model so that at least power should be available from biomass plants less than 5 rupees. If it is 5 rupees, okay, we can add 5 rupees biomass and 2 rupees 30 paisa, 50 paisa solar, so that we can mix it up, we can bundle it, and then it average price will come to around 3 rupees 50 paisa. Then it is affordable to PSPCL also, and also the consumer also. So my request is whenever we uh, plan for biomass plants, if GOI or NITI Aayog recommends some viability gap funding, so it should be based on upper cap of 5 rupees out of 5 rupees, and then reverse auction can be done. and for setting of biomass plant upfront or over a period of time, government can subsidize in giving about 50 crores or 100 crores depending on the megawatt capacity. Then it will help the state in setting up of more biomass based plants. It will help farmers also. They will get good price for their biomass, and then pollution to Delhi and other regions also will come down. So it has a lot of advantages. Third thing is, because you talked about technology, I strongly feel we should, especially in power sector, we should induct more technology in meter reading, billing, collection. At present, this is the most crucial issue as far as discoms are concerned. Now we often see meter reading is not accurate, especially in COVID period. We have not taken even meter reading. So these problems can be avoided if we automate 100% meter reading, billing and collection. If this can be only possible through smart metering, though we have done smart metering for three phase and large consumers, out of 75 lakh consumer base living agriculture tube well connections, we have about 65 lakh consumers. Out of that, we have added only 1 lakh smart metering. So our ultimate objective is to add more and more consumers on smart metering, so that bill is automatically generated automatically through WhatsApp or email. It can pass on to the consumer, and then automatically, if it is linked with the banking system, then the money will flow in real time to PSPCL. It will help the lot of human interference, especially in meter reading and collection, um, meter reading and bill delivery and collection of the dues. So there is a lot of scope, especially for the technology to intervene, and lot of scope for innovations, and lot of scope for collaborations. The best practices available in other states can be emulated, because now the load is going to increase and load variation is going to increase. It is because of climate changes. Summer is going to be very steep up and winter is going to be steep down. So there will be huge variation not only in Punjab but other states also. For this, innovations and collaborations are required, especially when the load curve is so much of different. So with these few words, I thank the organizers once again for giving me this opportunity to participate in this seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Venu sir. Before I let you go, sir, we would like to know, how do you see you being in the field and also as a policymaker? What is that you see the role of technology and the Punjab adopting the technology in the field of energy in the coming years? How is the scenario going to be? Can you unmute your mic, sir? Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at on distribution side, we have established substations and we are going for the GAS substations, and we are going for the unmanned substations also. Here, technology will come in a big way. Similarly, if you look at the SCADA also, we have established in three main places like Jalandhar, Punjab and Amritsar. So there is a lot of scope for SCADA based substations. Similarly, in meter reading, billing, and collection, a lot of scope for smart metering. So technology is going to play a very big role. Even apart from the even discoms HR management itself, because discoms are very big organizations. Like if you look at PSPCL itself is having 50,000 employees apart from the outsourced employees. So and about 1,10,000 pensioners, their HR management, financial management, pension, salary management. There also we are using ERP, and we are using SAP for our entire billing. But as of now, our 60% of the consumers are billed on SAP. Slowly we are moving to ERP. Our ultimate objective is to move every consumer to SAP or ERP solution. And the last most important thing is what we are planning is energy auditing also. So recently we have floated one or two tenders for a particular region in Ludhiana. So here end to end, suppose if I am pumping 1 lakh units in a particular area. So we are going to take energy auditing starting from the distributor DT metering, and all smart meters will be installed, whether it may be single phase or three phase or LS connections or HTLT, LTCT, and every so that real time we will come to know where is going to be the theft. Ultimate objective is to bring down the T&D losses. Today we are standing at 14%, 13.5% Punjab. Our objective is to bring it down to 10% TNC losses over the next couple of years. So for this, technology is a key intervention required. Through technology, we can improve the billing system, collection system, and thereby ultimately cost to consumer also. If objective is to make it affordable to consumer, and quality power supply, 24/7 quality power supply at affordable prices. If affordable prices are there, then consumer billing and collection efficiency will also improve. So ultimately I foresee the technology has a huge role to play in coming next few years. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing the initiatives and the work that's being taken up. We are sure, and it's going to be get much better with the integration of technology and the targeted goals are achieved. With this, we move on to our next speaker. We are thankful to, before that, I would like to thank our partners who have joined us and supported for this Energy Tech Innovation Conclave to happen, organized by APAC News Network. We would like to thank our associate partner, Indraprastha Gas Limited, for supporting us, and also Telangana State Northern Power Distribution Company Limited, who have joined us as supporting partner. With this, I would like to call upon our next speaker who has played a very crucial role uh, in the growth of the gas sector in India. He has been a leader. He was also the executive director of GAIL before joining as the managing director of Indraprastha Gas Limited. We would like to call upon our next speaker, Mr. A.K. Jana. Over to you, Mr. Jana. We would like to hear from you. What are the contributions of the Indraprastha Gas Limited, and also how the gas sector, through its innovation and collaboration, is contributing to the energy world? Over to you, Mr. Jana.
Good morning to everyone, and I hope that all are safe and healthy in this pandemic situation. Things are getting improved day by day, and I congratulate organizer APSC who has created this virtual platform for sharing the experience towards energy tech innovations with this conclave. And also I am very happy to share the platform with Manu Srivastava. When I got transferred from after working at 20 years at site, I got transferred to Delhi. शायद मानू साहब को अभी याद नहीं होगा, but I met first time him when he was in the petroleum ministry. And sir, thank you very much, seeing you after a long. And when I was there in MP more than 20 years, and now you have been there, sir. And I think things are moving the way you are dynamic. I hope that it is MP government is taking maximum benefit out of you, sir. And Pillai साहब is all. Thank you very much, Pillai साहब. आपसे भी हमने कई बार मुलाकात हुआ है. Coming back to today's topic, that how IGL is contributing for this gas sector. Before I go, I'll speak about the gas in general. Basically, last 27 years I'm in gas business. I was the first batch joining GAIL India Limited, and prior to joining, I was in GAIL Gas as a CEO. No, the fact is that today the country is having more than the pipeline capacity is more than 350 mmCMT gas can flow per day. A million standing kilometer per day gas can flow through the pipeline, out of which the capacity is around 50% we are able to use. But the way government has given the focus on this particular sector, how the gas can play a vital role for increasing this economic base, basically to increase the gas can be used as a enhancing the economics of country. And today if I see the gas is having around 6% in the energy mix. Natural gas is around 6%, and whereas it was around 10 years back, it was around 9 to 10% was there. It has gone down. Now again, it is progressively increasing, and government has set a target by 2030. It would be around 15%, more than 15%, for which several steps have been taken. Now, the if you see that today the country was having around 70%, pipeline network in the eastern part, sorry, in the northern part or the western part, and the balance was there in the south, as northeast few portion was there. Eastern part was totally, they were not getting the benefit of natural gas. Now the government has focused and laid the line, basically it is called the Urja Ganga, which is taking from Jagdishpur to Odisha, then Bengal, then ultimately it is going to northeast. The entire country would be connected. Now I am happy to share this thing with Srivastava sir, who was the gas grid, national gas grid, when he was planning all these things. It was a part of that, and today it is going to be basically realized, basically on the ground reality it is coming up. And government has even first time given the um, uh, viability gap funding also to lay the line towards that, because entire eastern part was not knowing what is natural gas basically. Now it is happy that we are happy that the line is being laid, and the fertilizer plants are also in the process of taking the gas, and they are getting converted to the gas based plant. And huge amount has been spent, and it is going to be is a real picture basically. The second thing is that no, the way city gas distribution has been expanded after ninth and 10th round bidding by conducted by the PNGRB, around 50%, I must say that 50% of the area of the country has been covered. More than 406 districts out of 730 districts have been authorized for setting up the city gas distributions. Prior to that, only 96 cities were there. No, 90 cities were there. And today, the what I am talking about, the entire district has been covered for the CGD sector, basically. So all the the resident of the particular district, they have a right to get the pipe connections through the network, basically. Then if you see that the capacity for the pipeline, what I was saying that it is around today countries have around 16,000, 17,000 kilometer pipeline. After this the drive has been taken by the government. Once it is completed within, I think, within 3 years, we'll be having around 30,000 kilometer gas pipe network over the in the country. And the second step has been taken to enhance the, today around 160 mmcmd gas is being consumed, out of which 50% are coming from outside. And we are more dependent on, now day by day it is increasing. So we are depending on that. So we need to set up the LNG terminal. And for which today we are having around 40 MMTP LNG terminal, which is to be increased to 70, another 2 3 years it will be coming up. Another around 1 lakh crores have been planned for investing in this area. And what I was talking about, the city gas, after this 10th round bidding by PNGRB, and PNGRB is now ready for the 11th round also. Probably by the time it will be entirely 80% to 90% population would be covered by the city gas distribution project, for which the in the next 5 to 7 years, the massive target has been set while taking the basically authorizations through the bidding process. It is around 4 and 4.5 crore houses are to be connected. Currently, it is around 80 lakhs house got connected. From that, we will be reaching to a 4.5 crores basically domestic house, which is around 20% of the entire population would be connected in the next 7 years. And today we are having around 3,000 plus some CNG stations are there. And the one thing we must appreciate, the CNG. Now Delhi is surviving because of the CNG. Now 22 years back, if you see that whenever you used to come from outside to Delhi, even in the morning when you are coming out from the railway stations, our eyes used to get burned. And now the city is really, because of the CNG, with the basically directive from the Supreme Court, entire the commercial vehicle is running on CNG. Because of that, the environment is basically helping us to survive. No. And the second thing is that I must tell that the way government has taken up for this mobility sector, and the CGD sector is going to spend more than 1,20,000 crores are to be spent within 7 years for setting up this massive infrastructures. While doing so, definitely we need to take care of certain, since it is related to technology, as my previous speaker, Mr. Prasad was saying, that how we can improve the basically helping taking the technology support to do the billing. Let me tell you that we are handling around out of 78 lakhs got connected through the PNG connections. We are handling around 22% of that, around 16 lakhs house got connected through the we have with our customers. We are trying to set up the entirely, it is based on automatic billing. No, even though analog meters are there, we have developed a software. You just take your mobile through the app. If you can take the photograph of that in particular window, then that analog will get automatically converted into the digital mode, and the bill would be generated then and there. It will be taking the data, previous data from the SAP, and bill will be generated. Once the bill is generated, it will take you to the payment gate, and you can make the payment then and there. It is a question of, well, 5 to 10 minutes you can make the payment. You need not to allow anyone to enter into your house, because we don't enjoy the what the flexibility electricity department got setting up the meter outside the house. But we have to set up the house meter inside the house, because of the cost, basically huge cost involvement is there. We cannot lay the dedicated line for individual houses. From the same riser you have to connect the individual houses through a meter. So because of that, we are required to install the meter inside the house. So looking into that, and I must tell that during the pandemic situations, the all the other out of 4 sector, 3 sector has gone down while consuming the natural gas, whereas the domestic sector, they have gone 130% more than what they used to consume basically. And everybody was having a target, saying that because of this continuous contactless supply, now people are, they themselves are approaching, sir, you please put up set up a smart meter. So we are thinking to convert into enter smart meter. As on date, we are able to do with the software. So we are thinking new connections, we are going with the smart meter only. Coming back to the transport sector, the various initiative has been taken by the different ministry. BS6 is also one of that towards the environment. And around industry has spent a huge amount, and automobile sector more than 30,000 crores, and the refineries, they have spent more than 70,000 crores have been spent. And last year from April, it has been implemented successfully, and definitely it is helping to improve the quality of air also. And CNG is there, as I told you. In addition to that, government is planning to go for long haul transportation with the LNG, which is much cheaper than the diesel as on date. And LNG is going to be the LNG is more cleaner than CNG, because there is no component of CO2, no component of water also, because it is minus 100-degree temperature. Because of that, we are supposed to remove the entire hydrogen, carbon dioxide free, and the water free. So then the third thing is that this LNG, the infrastructure is being gradually set up by the, and it is directed by the government also. So we are setting up around 6 LNG stations would be set up, around 140 being installed by various entities. We are going to set around six LNG stations. In addition to that, CBG plant, as Mr. Prasad was saying, that yes, CBG plant is coming up like anything. Government is very keen. In fact, our secretary, Sri Tarun Kapurji, is every week he is having a meeting, review meeting. We have a massive target for setting up around 5,000 CBG plant. And the CBG, the price have been decided by the government, and it is basically win-win situation for the both, rather all the end customer, then the manufacturer, and the middle stream, whosoever is there, like city gas distribution, they would be also happy to handle this. Then the fourth one is that we have started one particular product. It is called HCNG, and we are blending hydrogen with the CNG at a percentage of 18% under the directive of the Supreme Court. And we have carried out this study with 50 buses, how the environment is getting basically benefited out of that. So HCNG is giving a better basically reduction in the CO2 as well as unburned hydrocarbon. But the thing is that the cost is a very concern, and the operating efficiency is also a concern. So we are trying to resolve that. So HCNG we are targeting. And another, the sixth one is basically EVs, and that everybody knows how the EVs. We are also setting up some EVs plant, and we are rather going for the charging stations. We are planning to set up for the battery swapping, because charging takes long time, and if your vehicles are coming for charging, it is taking. We have two stations we have set up for this charging. They are taking around 45 minutes, half an hour to 45 minutes for charging. So in place of that, around 3 to 4 minutes would be required to replace the battery. So that we are going for that for the up to two-wheeler, and the three-wheelers we are planning initially. Then we can excel subsequently. And the last one that NITI Aayog is also working, probably he will be discussing this particular aspect, Mr. Ram. Hydrogen is now becoming the talk of the this in mobility sector, and probably that is one area which can give us, because the ultimate exhaust is that nothing but the H2 water only. So that is going to be a very good thing for the environment. The only concern is that the hydrogen safety point of view is a big concern, and we are trying to get that how much percentage can be blended in the pipeline. No such this thing is available with us. We have we have taken the help of the consultant Technique also. They are coming out that 0.1% or 2%, up to maximum 2% you can go. So question is that what should be the safest percentage by which we can blend with the hydrogen? These other areas are there. And looking coming back to the technology, basically we are now making entire payment on, other than the CNG where that auto rickshaws are coming, all the transaction is on e mode. There is nothing called that 100% domestic is coming through e mode transactions, and the commercial and the industrial is coming also 100% on digitization has been done, except you can say 50% CNG is, you can say, digitized, but only that the auto driver and all, they are having the cash, so they are required to give us the cash. So that is going on. So we have launched various cards also. We are trying to improve upon that. And as regard digitization concern, only one thing is there. Basically, the cost is very is becoming concern for us for the domestic houses, because we don't get, this is not a very profitable sector. In spite of that, we have to see, looking into the safety aspect, we are supposed to take care of that. But only one thing is that need to have and good to have. There is no basic, very difficult to draw a line between these two. Need to have, we should maintain, but good to have, it will depend upon your pocket, how much you can spend, and you can increase to give the comfort you can give to that. So thank you very much giving me opportunity for sharing my experience, and I hope everybody will be safe and healthy. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jana, for sharing the both and perspective in the gas sector, how it is contributing in India. And we're glad to know that Indraprastha Gas Limited, how effectively it's contributing to the clean and green transport, e-mobility. At the same time, we can see with installation of many LNG stations and a lot many plants coming up by IGL, we can see a better and more cleaner and a healthier environment in our country. With this, I would like to move on to our next speaker, who is an administrative innovator. He is more known for his passionate contribution in the field of energy. We know him especially for the new and renewable energy contribution in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Mr. Our Honorable Prime Minister made a special mention of him, especially the project that has come up in the Riva of Madhya Pradesh, which is the first project in India to break the grid parity, and our Delhi Metro, the capital city of our country, the Delhi Metro, which is the lifeline, is running on the power from Riva. So, I would like to call upon our next eminent speaker, a senior bureaucrat, Mr. Manu Srivastava, Principal Secretary to Government of Madhya Pradesh. Sir, over to you. We would like to hear from you, sir.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. First of all, it's really a pleasure to be speaking on this forum, and thanks APAC for having organized this. I'm saying this because, as Mr. Jana also indicated, what the title of the session uh, relates to almost everything that I have been doing for all these years. After I finished my basic collector and district field postings, etc., I have been almost entirely in the energy sector. So I looked after natural gas for 5 years. That is what Mr. Jana was referring to. So that way you can say natural gas is my first love. And thereafter, I have been in electricity sector and renewable energy thereafter. So energy and natural gas, I have a natural affiliation for these sectors. Furthermore, I'm an electrical engineer by education. Uh, I've done electrical engineering from Delhi IIT, so that makes it all the more interesting for me. So I would only like to speak on, because all the sectors are very big, electricity or renewable energy or natural gas, and it's really impossible to cover the various issues involved therein in a 1 hour plenary session or a few minutes of speaking. And anyway, Mr. Venu Prasad, who's my friend and batchmate, has spoken about the challenges of energy sector, and Mr. Jana has very eloquently covered about natural gas. So I would only speak about the synergies between electricity or renewable energy and natural gas. I would especially talk about this because, as I mentioned, I had the good fortune or the privilege of having worked in all these sectors. And I would say that both these sectors, usually people who worked in natural gas, they only think of electricity as one of the consumers, because natural gas, as you know, has various uses. It's used in city gas, what Ms. Jana is looking after, fertilizer plants, steel plants, also electricity plants. And so it looks at as a consumer, and renewable energy, etc., just think that we are absolutely clean, and well, natural gas is somewhat clean. So that is this view about each other. There is not going into any greater detail. First of all, I would say that the contracting in both is very similar, because electricity, as we all know, is a continuous, has to be supplied continuously. Natural gas is also supplied almost continuously. So there is a lot that can be learned. Where I applied it was, you talked of Riva project. So there, instead of the normal power contract, a normal power contract is that, let's say, if from a power plant, Venu before me talked of Sasan power plant. So let's say Punjab is getting 15% power from Sasan power plant. So at all points of time, Punjab would get 15%. If Sasan is producing 1000 megawatt, they would get 150. If Sasan were to be producing 4000 megawatt, they would get 600 megawatt. I mean, the percentage remains the same. Whereas in an energy contract, it is not necessary that you always give the same percentage of power at every instant. Energy contract essentially is that you give a certain amount of energy in, let's say, a contract period of a year or something, which is what gas contracts do. I applied the same principle with my earlier experience in gas in Riva, and we had an energy contract for Riva, under which Delhi Metro is getting solar power. So why that is relevant is that Delhi Metro does not get a fixed share. As we know, solar has a curve like this. It starts from 0 in the morning, it reaches a peak at noontime, then comes down. Now, if we were to giving let's say a fixed person of 25% of that, then the profile of Metro would also be like that, which is not what Metro needs. Metro needs a stable supply throughout the day. So through Riva, we don't supply them a varying curve. We supply them a fixed power throughout the day. This is using the concept of energy contract of take and pay, which Mr. Jana, of course, is well aware of, which is the normal thing that is done in gas contracts. So we applied this learning for gas contracting in contracting for solar energy. The only case in India where it has been applied, and that is, I must say, thanks to my experience in the natural gas sector. We have used the same principle in our next project, where we are supplying to Indian Railways. In Indian Railways, again, we are giving them a fixed supply through the day, not the solar curve supply. Other areas of synergy that come to my mind are that renewable energy, of course, has this problem that it cannot be continuously supplied, unlike thermal power. So there can be a wonderful sync, a synergy that can happen between renewable energy and natural gas. It is helped essentially because there are only two sources which can be switched on and off very fast. One is hydel and the other is natural gas. So as renewable energy suffers from this limitation that it would come down, say around in the evening at sunset, or wind power can vary at any point of time. So when we need to ramp up power, say in the afternoon, late evenings when solar is coming down, then natural gas is the ideal power for that. It can ramp up at any speed that you want. As against that, thermal has a limitation in the speed at which it can ramp up. Natural gas does not have it. So solar, or I would say all renewable energy coupled with natural gas, can really give a stable and also clean profile, as we are increasingly bothered about climate change issues, and we are all acknowledging that the forest fires that seem to be happening in so many parts of the world, the floods that are happening not only in India but in Europe, the heat waves that are happening in the US, they all have a common a reason in climate change that needs to be addressed. So renewable energy plus natural gas is a perfect combination. Another thing where I think electricity has a lot to learn from natural gas is in developing the transmission infrastructure. In electricity, without going into detail, I would say that setting up the transmission infrastructure is very complicated. If natural gas were to use the same principle as electricity does, they would only set up a trunk gas pipeline if there are signed contracts by retail consumers saying that we would consume all the gas. So this is how, or if you were to do it with airports, if people have bought tickets for the next 25 years, saying that we would not only get down at this airport, but these are our tickets, only then would you decide to build an airport. So this is the principle on which electricity transmission network is built. So when there is a consumer who says that I would actually consume power, and when all the constituent states agree and the various committees to do that, I would not go into that detail, but it is only then that electricity transmission infrastructure develops. As against that, gas transmission infrastructure knows and understands that when you develop the trunk pipeline, there is no customer. As Mr. Jana also said, that people in Northeast don't even know what natural gas is. But still a natural gas trunk pipeline is being built because they know that when the trunk pipeline would be built, then units would come up and the demand for natural gas would pick up. As against that, electricity, it's almost certain that as the economy develops, as the consumption of per capita electricity increases in the country, which is still very low, as it increases, the demand for electricity is bound to grow up in various parts of the countries. So, a short point is that electricity transmission infrastructure needs to be far more aggressive, and we could learn from gas transmission infrastructure. Of course, there could be accidents, like there are airports which are underutilized, like there are gas trunk pipelines that are underutilized. There could be periods of time where electricity infrastructure is underutilized, but over a period of time, it is certain that electricity consumption would increase. So we need to be far more aggressive there. Another point I would like to add is that in various points of time, a lot of experiments and successful experiments have happened in pooling of gas prices. There have been LNG contracts of various prices. They have been pooled, and LNG has been given at common price. Various times it has been done. It is still being done in the fertilizer for natural gas. We need to do something like that in renewable energy, because renewable energy, we find out that 244 is a very good tariff, but no one wants to sign the contract for 244 because there is a better tariff of, let's say, 220. So 244 becomes, no one wants to touch it. So if we do pooling, then such problems can be taken care of. There's only one point I would like to add, that while I am myself very upbeat and I am myself a great proponent of natural gas, we need to be conscious about the cost of renewable energy, which is alternative in many sectors. So when it comes to cooking or transportation, we need to be alive to the cost of the same using electricity, or especially renewable energy. So perhaps we could decide to focus on those sectors where natural gas is used as a feedstock, basically fertilizer, steel, where cheaper renewable energy is not a competition to natural gas. These are my words, and I would again like to say that it is uh, uh, very nice to be back amongst friends, people who talk of both gas and energy. As I said, that these are my natural interests, and I have worked in this. And I would thank APC for giving me the opportunity to speak. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manu sir. We can see that passionate solutions that you have mentioned about a perfect synergy you talked about between the natural gas, and the renewable energy. How a stable and a constant energy can be supplied. That talks volumes about your passion and the kind of time you have spent in this energy sector. We're glad we heard you, and we are glad that you have joined us in the inaugural session. With this, I would like to move on to our next speaker, who representing the government of India, the think tank that in the power and energy sector, Mr. Rajnath Ram, advisor, power and energy, NITI Aayog, government of India. Over to you, sir. We would like to hear from you. Uh, if you can unmute the mic, sir.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So I would like to thank APAC Network for holding this Sustainable Energy Tech Innovation Conclave and holding this extremely important discussion. As this is, we all know that India has ambitious clean energy targets, and to achieve them, a clean technology innovation has one of the most vital roles to play. So I would briefly like to touch upon few of the aspects like the discom performance. A lot of talk has been there, and then clean energy transition, and third I would touch base on gas sector as well. But I'll just start with the discom. I mean, uh, government has already come out with the reform linked incentive scheme for revamping the discoms, where the role of technologies have to play a major role. And we a lot of places we have been talking about the internet of the things. So now there is a move towards towards the internet of energy. I mean, that's how to humanize energy with the help of the technology. So other aspect is again the but other aspect on this I would like to highlight the baseline data, and a lot of planning we do and a lot of policies implementations are there, but we don't define the baseline data. I mean, that's really critical. Whenever any planning is baseline data is not, then it is very difficult to draw a true trajectory for our reform pathway. So that is critical for any kind of reform initiative. And similar the case applies for the even the discom sector. I mean, this discom, I mean, there is a huge challenge of infrastructure and a lot of inefficiency built while collecting and billing the electricity. So if we consider discom, we still lack huge challenges for metering and even all the customers. Therefore, we need to plan for at least last mile connectivity. Whoever is the last consumer, we properly meter them and we properly collect data from that one. So then only our proper planning and implementation of the reform will translate into the ground. The another aspect I would just like to highlight the clean tech and clean energy transition. I mean, see, the lot of talk globally is there, and there is a move towards the clean energy transition. So India should also not left behind. So renewable, particularly the solar will dictate the growth trajectory for the country. We have put a huge target of 450 gigawatt, out of which 300 nearly constitute to the solar and balance wind and other waste to energy and other small hydro and other renewable projects. So the huge challenge is to how this 450 gigawatt would really penetrate into the grid. That's a critical planning needs to be done as far as the country uh, for the country. It means we are inviting another. I mean, if this entire 450 gigawatt is to be fed into the grid, it means we are inviting another issues of grid balancing. So therefore, a strategy should evolve around the that part of it should go for the electrification process, and where we can fit into the grid, and part of it should be used for decarbonizing the sector. I mean, in the overall primary energy basket, if you see, the electricity constitute only 20%. Balance 80% is still the other kind of fuel resources which are directly being used by the industry. So those are the sectors need to be taken into deep dive. And green hydrogen can play a major role in decarbonizing the sector, particularly with respect to the petroleum and the fertilizer sector, because they are the sector which are using gray hydrogen, which is based on the natural gas. And we roughly consume about 6.7 million ton of gray hydrogen, and which constitute about 9% of the global demand. So these are the sector where, particularly with respect to when your solar tariff is low, then lowest solar tariff can be utilized for production of green hydrogen, and India can become leader in that. And the penetration of this hydrogen, particularly in the fertilizer and the in the petroleum sector, can create a scale where the and it will drive the lowering the cost of green hydrogen production, because in the overall green hydrogen process, the 70 to 80% cost is the cost of electricity. So if that cost is minimized, we can certainly become a leader in this particular aspect. And these are the fertilizer, petroleum, and even ammonia. Green hydrogen can be utilized for producing ammonia, and ammonia can be exported. Even green ammonia can be exported. Already, world is looking for that, and green ammonia highway has been also earmarked. Then the next aspect comes to the long or heavy duty trucks, where I think this green hydrogen can penetrate and become a game changer. But the critical aspect is the electrolyzer. I mean, the electrolyzer cost as of now, we are importing. So India should also focus on manufacturing the electrolyzer, and we can even export, and we can cater to the Asia Pacific market easily. And there is a huge demand for that. On coming back to the gas sector, although there a lot of talk has been going on extending the grid network, the natural gas grid, extending out to the northeast region, and also setting up a clear market of transmission, and the separate role of the marketing function. All those functions are also being looked after by the government. But this is necessary, because the world should have a clear vision and clear vision, so that clear signal, so it's that clear signal, so that if the sector if there are clear separation of the marketing function and the marketing distribution function, and then the uh, so they will bring more investment in the sector once they get the confidence. But more importantly, I was just wanted to highlight that the the pricing regime for the country. I mean, that's a critical aspect. Even our domestic pricing for the natural gas, it is based on the different hub prices. That does not reflect the true prices for the even the domestic producer, like our national oil company. They are facing and they are unable to recover their production cost. So truly moving away from the APM pricing to the clear marketing and pricing fitting, if they are given to this sector, I think a lot of production will also come, because some of the marginal fits which are not economical at the current domestic prices, they can also come. So, and that will increase our domestic supply, and then that will also play a major role towards the towards achieving our goal of 15% gas-based economy by 2030. The another important aspect I would just like to highlight the clean tech R&D. Clean tech R&D, that's another area. I mean, a lot of our uh, uh, budget provided by the respective ministries, etc., are some kind of capital-based subsidy or some, and the fund allocated for this clean tech R&D is very minimal. So we need to really shift from the current regime to the RPI kind of thing, like the Advanced Research Projects Agency the USA has. I mean, they have created industry and academia and all the investor kind of a consortium which go for the grand challenge method, and see that how the innovations and the research can be brought at the ground level, and how to commercialize this. So I think those strategy we should also look particularly in this energy sector. So these were my few words, and I really thank APAC for inviting me for this conclave. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing those challenges and also the solutions that are going to be the game changers, especially the green hydrogen, and also the various methods you have studied. And also, you mentioned about the grand challenge method in USA can be adopted, which all these solutions can be a game changer and can be a solution for the challenges that we are facing in the energy sector. Thank you very much. With this,
Mr.
I would
Sudhir,
like to.
Mr. Sudhir, can I take leave? I have a meeting with secretary just 11 o'clock.
Okay, okay, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Srivastava sir. Pillai sir, sorry I
Yes, sir.
couldn't hear you.
Oh, no problem.
Nam sir and Prasad sir, thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So with this, we move on to our next speaker. Now is the time for digitalization of in energy sector, and one thing that comes to our mind is the smart grid. So we would like to hear how is India progressing. The eminent speaker who joined us, who would be throwing light on the smart grid area and digitalization. He's the president for India's Smart Grid Forum and also the chairman for Global Smart Grid Federation. I would like to call upon Mr. Reji Kumar Pillai. Over to you, sir. We would like to hear from you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the participants from around the world. Thank you very much for inviting India Smart Grid Forum to speak at this August inaugural ceremony of this August event. We are already out of time, 11 o'clock, so I'll take 10 minutes. I think we started 5 minutes late, so that should be all right. So as you all know, India operates the third largest power system in the world with an installed capacity of about 390 gigawatt of generation capacity. And one nation, one grid is one of the most complex and fastest growing grid anybody operates in the world. And we have been doing that good for last 7-8 years without any major difficulties. According to the latest IEA projections, our grid is like our power system in India is likely to more than double by 2030 to 823 gigawatt, and again more than double to somewhere around, or almost double to somewhere around 1584 gigawatt by 2040. Good numbers, huge investment, a lot of employment opportunities. But what is the trouble is that out of the 1584 gigawatt, what they estimate, 869 gigawatt is going to come from renewable resources. So, and our peak load by then 2040 is also going to be somewhere in the range of 500 gigawatt plus. Today we are somewhere at 200 gigawatt is the summer peak which we achieved in last month. So this is going to put more than 50% of the generation capacity coming from renewable energy is going to put a lot of pressure on how to manage the grid. On 9th of April 2020, when Prime Minister requested everybody to switch off the light for 9 minutes at 9 p.m., we successfully managed and shown that 25% flexibility we could do, little more than 25% flexibility, but doing that on a daily basis. And according to IEA projections, by 2040, Indian grid will need the maximum flexibility, which is plus 50% ramp up capability at any point in time, minus 35% ramp down, that is plus minus 85% flexibility is a huge challenge which will be difficult for the any grid operator to manage. And we heard from Mr. A.Venu Prasad that Punjab having seasonal variation, daily variation, and how to address this the struggle to address this variability. So in the few minutes which I have, I will concentrate on flexibility solutions, what we need to do to achieve this kind of a flexibility, how new and emerging technologies are going to be leveraged for achieving flexibility. Some of them the previous speakers have already mentioned upon. So one of them is to have storage, distributed storage across the grid through different route. One of them is having battery energy storage in the solar farms and wind farms, where you can store many times during the day the price of power is low, so the power stored during such slots during surplus generation can be sold at higher price in the power exchanges, and we could attract third party. It need not be the same solar farm or wind farm promoter. It could be a third party who will come, aggregator who will come set up battery energy storage in those places, and who can sell the power in the green came-ahead market. And 2 months ago, Maharashtra Regulatory Commission came out with a very revolutionary order saying that against an application from Tata Power, if a customer wants green power, he can be given green power at a premium. So that is going to bring a large number of renewable energy buyers. We have been advocating for a renewable energy buyers associations, like something which they have in the US. So we hope such a the regulations are already paving the way for having such things. So energy storage in solar farms and wind farms, and also a very interesting project which the new Kusum project, the solarization of irrigation pump set, which Government of India amended the Kusum project. Here 30% grant coming, 40% grant coming from MNRE, 30% from 30% grant from MNRE, 30% grant from the respective state government, and 40% investment from the farmers, respective farmers. And farmers today get power almost free. They are not interested in investing that 40 percentage. But if again we allow third parties to come, solarize the irrigation pump sets, and also set up battery energy storage, that is going to change the entire nature of the power system in the country. So there are millions of irrigation pump sets in different states, and even a small portion of them are solarized, and along with the battery energy storage. And a farmer typically uses irrigation pump set for 200 or less than 200 days in a year, and that too for a certain number of hours. Rest of the energy which is generated from those solar panels, that can be allowed to sell by the aggregators at the market or at power exchange. That will be incentivize them to come and make such investment. The third major route for, and we find that is going to be the fastest route for having distributed energy storage in the Indian grid, is through DG set replacement with lithium-ion batteries. We have recently published a white paper also on that. So all major buildings, infrastructure, campuses, office complexes, all of them have megawatt scale diesel generating sets as a backup power arrangement. These are operated for a few hours in a month, depending on the power cut in that particular city or town. But when it is replaced with the lithium-ion battery, it is 24/7 connected to the grid, and it can offer a host of support services. grid support services, ancillary services. Now there is a draft ancillary services regulation issued by CERC, which will be, we will see that it will be finalized on fast track. So DG set replacement. And another interesting part is that a 1 kilowatt hour of electricity generated today from a DG set with a diesel bought at above 90 rupee per liter is going to cost them more than 25 rupees per unit of electricity. With a commercial rate of electricity you buy from the grid, you store it on your battery and sell it back, it is somewhere from 12 to 15 rupees in most part of the country. So it is much more economically attractive. And ancillary services also payment, which a grid operator, the battery owner, a third party battery aggregator coming and replacing this large DG sets with batteries, they can get from the grid support services, ancillary services payment, plus the backup power arrangement from the building owner. That can again bring in some innovative business model. We'll see gigawatt hour scale battery storage coming into the grid, which will again help us in integrating renewable energy and mitigating this variations. And another area we have been working on or advocating is the vehicle to grid technologies. So electric vehicle is going to take off in many parts of the world. There are millions of vehicles being added. 2020, 3 million electric vehicles were added. This is, I'm talking about 4-wheelers, not 2-wheelers and 3-wheelers. So India also, we will see a large number of it. And right from beginning, when we started working on the standard for electric vehicle charging equipment in India, we have been advocating that the AC charger where vehicle will be connected for longer hours, that should be capable of vehicle to grid technologies. And initially, none of the vehicle manufacturers were happy in giving electric vehicle with the vehicle to grid, because the battery manufacturers had put some warranty on a limited number of cycles. But now, over the last 5 to 7 years, the battery quality, the life, everything has improved so much, so that that some of the latest announcement I have seen from Hyundai as well as from Volkswagen, they talk about V2X, not just V2G. You can power anything. You can power any device from your car battery, and many of the new generation batteries are going to outlive the vehicle itself. That's the kind of batteries going to come. So we'll be driving this V2G standards for the AC chargers, and we will see large number of vehicles which are connected to the grid will be aggregated as virtual power plant, offering flexibility and ancillary services. This has been successfully demonstrated in different parts of the world. We are collaborating and working on that with the different research labs and universities in bringing that technology to India soon. And interesting part here is that the electric vehicles and rooftop solar both are connected to the low voltage grid, and the variability during the day on the rooftop solar generation can be easily mitigated by the electric vehicle batteries. So that today we don't feel it because the share of rooftop is very less, but as the percentage goes up, when we are going to make it mandatory for all buildings to have rooftop solar or building integrated PV to come in, when in the low voltage and medium voltage grid, the share of solar injection going to increase. We need this kind of technologies, and V2G is going to be a big game changer. And there is another area where a very big area you heard about that. People talking about hydrogen, green hydrogen is big thing. Won't get into the details, but electrolyzers, gigawatt scale electrolyzers, when it will be set up in the country, that can give load relief, and also it can act as a load during the day when more surplus generation from renewable resources are there. Electrolyzers can operate at maximum capacity, and as the renewable generation comes down, the evening peak comes, electrolyzer can either switch off or operate at lower volumes. This is not something which you need to run. Electrolyzer need not run at 24/7. Whenever a grid operator needs a load relief, electrolyzer plant should be able to give it. And gigawatt scale electrolyzer plants are going to be a very good resource on the grid for achieving flexibility. Yet another area where we have been working recently, and we published a white paper last year, is on district cooling systems. So India is a signatory to the Kigali Agreement, and we in 2019 published a cooling action plan. Today, as you know, less than 10% of the people have access to cooling. Room air conditioners, which are used, although it is 3-star, 4-star, or 5-star labeled appliance, it is still, when millions of new air conditioners added to the power system, it is going to be a major difficulty for the grid operators. Delhi, for the last 7-8 years, we have the summer peak in the midnight when everybody operate air conditioners. So we have been advocating that, like electricity, water, gas, which is supplied to the houses against a monthly fee as a service, cooling also can be given as a service against a monthly fee from district cooling systems. And we have an excellent example, which is in Gift City in Gujarat, which is in operation for the DCS. There is in operation for the last 6-7 years. And all new developments, smart cities, and all new commercial centers, all new large infrastructure should have DCS, which actually is much more cheaper. It requires less than 50% of the electricity capacity to electrify this, to run this. And again, in a DCS plant, there are centralized chiller plants, which are again megawatt scale chiller plant, which can be switched off. It can give load relief. And most of all the DCS plants are built with thermal storage. The chilled water at 5 degrees centigrade is stored in an insulated tank. And even if the chiller plant is switched off, the storage tank can still service the buildings for several hours with air conditioning. So DCS is another major area which we need to seriously consider. And there are companies who are interested in coming and setting up DCS systems in India. It's a huge capital investment project, but it is possible. It can be done. And on the scaling up of the rooftop solar, we have last year done 2 pilot projects, selling of rooftop solar energy to your neighbors or to your friends on a peer-to-peer trading platform built on blockchain technology. First, we have done this in Lucknow. It is in operation for last 6-7 months. It went live sometime in December last year, and then we have done it in Delhi with Tata Power. That's also in operation for last 7-8 months. So I'm very happy to share with you that yesterday, in the tariff order issued by UP Electricity Regulatory Commission for the MVVNL, the Lucknow Distribution Company, the commission has directed that, taking from the results of the successful blockchain P2P trading pilot project in Lucknow, commission directing the licensee to scale up that and available to all the prosumers. So it's a win-win situation. A typical commercial customer who pays 9 rupees per kilowatt hour of electricity, whereas a prosumer, for his unused electricity, surplus solar generation pumped into the grid, he gets just 2 rupees. So people been selling and buying at the price discovery in Lucknow, which happened, is about 5 rupees 60 paise. And we have, in our final recommendation, we said that there can be some 10 to 15% to the distribution company for wheeling and billing and settlement charges. So it's a win-win solution for all, and we should promote that, and that will see that millions of rooftop will have electricity which will be pumping into the network, and the evolving grid with millions of such prosumers and other devices, which I said, all connected to the medium voltage and low voltage grid, which are generation resources which can be dispatchable. So this is going to change the architecture of the grid. The traditional grid which we have is designed and built for and operated for one-way flow of electricity, which is changing. We need new technologies and new architecture for operating the evolving grid. That's exactly the area, the digitalization and other new technologies where ISGF is working on. Thank you very much. I will stop here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pillai. The kind of developments in the field of energy sector you touched upon, I'm sure it is going to change the entire scenario in the powering system. And especially you mentioned about the third party, the premium pricing of the green power. At the same time, the battery system, how the e-mobility is going to take place and going to transform. At the same time, the blockchain technology you mentioned about, and it is of course going to be a game changer. Even the domestic farming of solar energy can be traded. The entire licensing system which is going to happen is going to play a major role. It's going to be a game changer. I can see that the kind of transformation that is going to come in the energy system. We are glad we heard you, the immense experience you put forward. We are glad that the India Smart Grid Forum and the Global Smart Grid Federation is advocating the country towards in this direction. With this, I would like to thank all my eminent speakers. I would like to call upon my colleague and the co-founder and editor for the APAC News Network, Gopi Arora, to deliver the vote of thanks to our eminent speakers who have joined us from across the country. Over to you, Mr. Gopi.
Thank you so much, Sudheer, for this opportunity. And we are very fortunate today that we have a very experienced and rich panel here with a vast experience in this energy space. I heard all of them. It is very enlightening to hear all of them. And just wanted to extend my sincere thanks to all the esteemed speakers who are going to speak and who have already spoken in this inaugural session. And to all our partners who will be speaking today at this forum to showcase their innovations and best practices done in the various aspects and the sector in the energy sector. So what I believe is India has seen an extraordinary success in the recent development. But many challenges remain, and COVID-19 pandemic has been a major disruption in this. New technology in adoption of new technology in this space will definitely create efficiencies, open new markets, and reduce costs for sure. And that is what was our aim for. The platform is also aimed to explore the opportunities and challenges ahead for India. It seeks to ensure reliable, affordable, and sustainable energy for a growing population. So once again, I want to thank all the eminent speakers present here in this panel today. Thank you so much for joining us, and special thanks to Indraprastha Gas Limited and Telangana State for supporting this initiative. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gopi. With this, I would like to thank all our eminent speakers, and I would like to call upon our audience to join us for the next session. We would be having a presentation by Mr. Yogesh Kumar from the state of Uttar Pradesh Power Corporation.
And just to
Thank you, everybody. Bye. Good day.
Just to add one more thing, we will also come out with a detailed outcome report of this event very soon, and that will be shared with all the relevant stakeholders from the energy space, and we will try to disseminate this information to as many people as we can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.